Hi guys, welcome to Latinas on Blast Part 3. Wait. Part 3.
Yes.
This is our third episode
Episode.
and we are as always excited. I think we are getting better at this. We have a whole new setup and we have some news for everyone that's tuning in. We're actually getting a going to a new
Studio.
studio, and by that I mean AKA.
My new apartment.
Yes. I'm so happy for Gardenia. I know
Thank you,
she's
babe.
been working really hard on looking for an apartment. And it's hard out here. Like the market is so hard, guys. It's so competitive in New York City. So I know it took some time and I'm just so happy for her.
Yeah, for those people like looking for apartments, it's really hard. It like Melissa said, it's like really competitive. See if you can tap into your networks. Like that also could be a place where you could get connected. Because we are in a crisis. No
No,
one's
for real. The
talking about
crisis
this housing crisis in
continues.
New York City, New York. Actually, New York as a whole, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you did that, girl. And I'm so excited.
There was some tears, but
I
yeah.
know, I know. I know you had a pretty hard time. Aside from that, I guess like let's dive right in, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So so today we're gonna talk about what about ourselves in the past. There's parts of us in our relationships, in our intimate relationships that we no longer want to repeat or just we want to be more aware of when going into our intimate relationships. And I think that takes us back to where we were in our previous relationships and the parts of us that were kind of messy and
Mm,
chaotic and oof, right?
yeah. I mean, sometimes it's also like our younger self coming into that relationship.
Mhm. Right.
I can speak for myself, babe. Like,
Yeah.
it's been 2 years I've been out of a relationship, and I can say, like, ever since that relationship ended, like, my life has been, like, really speeding away,
Mm.
evolving,
Mm.
and I've been doing a lot of self reflection. And through that, I can recognize some parts of myself that I have to let go.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And like, when you say let go, it doesn't necessarily mean that those parts are necessarily gone, right? They can
Mm-hmm.
present like at least for me, like although I was in a long-term relationship too, and it's been 2 years exactly as well. Um and there's some parts of me that I sometimes see play out in my current relationships where I'm like, whoa, like clearly there's some things that I need to continue to work on and let go. But I'm also being very careful and gentle with myself because it's very easy to judge yourself throughout that
Mm-hmm.
process, or to speed up the process. That's
Yeah.
definitely something that I saw myself like, oh, like why can't I just feel better about myself, or like why am I still feeling insecure? Why am I still feeling this way? Like
Like criticizing yourself.
criticizing yourself in your process, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not linear, it's bumpy, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm learning to accept that.
Yeah, and I think like some like to that point, a linear. I think a lot of us measure like as soon as you break up, you measure the
Mm,
time.
yeah.
Everything is time. Like after 2 months, I should be able to go to the same
Yeah.
restaurant that I was able to with my partner.
Mm,
Or after a month, I could be around our mutual friend. Like we want to be careful of putting a time to things.
yes.
I had to learn that, I think, in a very difficult way. But thank goodness, like I had supportive friends that were like,
Like
like
it's so,
what you were saying, like
yeah.
take it slow.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, I don't know about you guys, but I low key will Google things. I feel like I always need a validation. Like, how long does it take for you to get over your breakup?
That's so
I
funny.
know. And then it would say, like, research says that it can take from 3 to 6 months to
Babe, you're so
overcome your
cute for
breakup. And I'm
that.
like, okay, let's see if my experience aligns with the research. Hey, look at that, look.
Damn, babe, I didn't do all that.
I did all that, girl. I
I
needed
would watch
facts.
I would watch like YouTube videos
Uh,
on like coping through the I
the
guess the
breakup.
ending of it, the loss of
Mm,
it,
mm,
and the grieving. But that's funny that you actually maybe because I can read for so long on
mm.
Google. Like if I want to read, it has to be an
Mhm.
actual book or like an actual
Mhm.
paper thing.
Mm. No.
Yeah.
I will, yeah. I like dove into like Reddit. I dove
What?
into like Google. Oh my God. It was so
You're
funny.
so funny,
It was
babe.
so validating because sometimes I just felt like I couldn't talk about it with other people. So I feel like the internet served me as like reassurance and validation.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's why I kind of leaned on it. Um, but yeah, I mean, there was definitely parts of, and parts of me that I kind of saw, and I feel like one thing that I'm going to be very mindful of is not letting it disrupt like my value system, like
Mm,
relationships. Like we come into relationships with our own values and beliefs, and there is some adjustment that I think everyone has to make when entering the relationship.
yeah.
But when most of the parts that you come with, like what makes you unique, what makes you an individual, are disruptive, or you can no longer like what is it, like you can no longer mm, you no longer have your own identity, then that's when things get conflicting. And I definitely felt that one thing I want to keep in mind is not letting it disrupt my value system.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's really important to be aware because in a relationship, sometimes we put everything, like all our eggs into that
Mhm.
basket. Like the relationship centers everything.
Yep.
And then we wind up losing like the social part of gardenia, or the gardenia that shows up to family events, or like
Mm.
the gardenia that is there for friends. Like I remember how I would center my relationship and oftentimes abandon friends,
Mm.
and they would try to like identify that, and I would just be like brushing it off.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to sit with.
Mhm. You mentioned that like other people in your life started to kind of notice a change in you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they started to reach out, but you were so invested in that relationship,
Yeah.
right? In your family, right? That it was kind of hard to see it in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
right? How much of you were investing in that individual,
Yeah.
right?
That's why the breakup was so significant, because there was no center anymore.
Mm.
It was like, now I have to center my kids by myself.
Mm.
My family is broken
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And then what do I do with myself? That's been my identity for like 8 years.
Mm.
That's a big hit.
Yeah. And just to give everyone a heads up, Gardenia is a mother of two little babies. How old are they, Gardenia?
My daughter's 9, and my
Yeah.
son is, well, she's about to turn 9, and my son is about to turn 3.
Yeah.
So there's a big age difference. It's really fun to watch, but
Mhm.
I really love them with all my heart. They're everything. Like every part of me that moves in this earth, it's
Mm.
like because of them.
Yeah.
Every decision I make,
Mm.
every every move, like it's
Mhm.
for them.
Yeah. You're such a good
Yeah.
mom.
Thank you, babe.
But it must have been really hard, right? Like, especially because a lot of your time was invested in keeping your family together and your relationship, and then how it impacted also your other relationships, right? Like, for me, and one thing that I think one of the things that we both relate on is like, we're both very family oriented,
Mhm.
and for me, that was something that was very different in my relationship. Like, I came from a very close niche family where we sit on the table, we have our meals together, where,
Mm.
you know, saying goodnight in the nighttime is important. Saying good day in the morning is important. Having breakfast in the morning, like that was how we were able to be together and enjoy each other's presence as a family. And so for me, it felt that in my previous relationship, I had to kind of sacrifice that because, my partner's values didn't align with mine when it
Mm.
came to family, and it was conflicting. But I think when you're in a relationship, you try to accommodate your partner, that sometimes you accommodate too much that you lose a part of you, right? You lose
Hmm.
the things that you really do value and want to stand for.
Or
And
you darken that part. I'm sorry for babe for
no, no,
cutting
no,
you off.
no, you're
But
good, good.
like you also like darken that part of you
Yeah.
because that part is craving that family connection because that's what
Right.
we're like doing since we were children, right? Like,
Mhm.
and so then you darken that part of you, and little do you know, you're actually like fooling yourself. Like, you
Mhm.
want that connection, and that can like create tension between your partner.
Yeah. Yes, yes, because people come with different backgrounds, right? And so like what you're going to value is going to be different from yours, but like then how
Hmm.
do you find a balance, right? And so you can't find that balance, then it's like you have to sacrifice something, right? Like people are not,
Hmm.
then you're really, like you're not able to meet each other in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And I think that for me, the part of me that kind of I lost was staying connected to my family, right? Like that was I just needed to focus on my relationship.
Wow, babe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there ever a time like a family member like verbalize that to you, that observation, like, oh, I noticed you
Yeah.
weren't here in the morning and there was
Yeah.
breakfast ready for you
Yeah,
or something.
for family events, there was always this expectation for me to be present for Father's Day, for Mother's Day, and I would make an attempt, don't get me wrong. I would still make an attempt, but the time that I would spend with them was much more limited, and I wasn't as present in all the events that I would have liked to be. Um, yeah, yeah. So I think I tried. I really did try, but it still didn't feel. I feel like I didn't feel satisfied with how I was trying to remain connected with my family.
Because it wasn't genuine,
It
maybe.
didn't feel genuine. Exactly.
Hmm.
That's the word. It didn't feel genuine. It felt rushed. Like I have to check in and then check back out. I have
Felt
to
like a
check in.
commitment.
Yeah. Like I was like, I have to check in and check back out real quick.
Mm.
I need to check this off my list.
Oh my God,
I know.
that's
I
harsh.
know. It's so hard. It's so hard. And it's like,
But I could definitely relate to that.
jeez.
Hmm.
What's coming up for you, boo?
I have, like I have to put what is important to me, or whoever is important to me, to the side, because my partner values like something else. Like
Mm-hmm.
he values going out, having barbecues,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we often play into that submissive role that we mentioned
Yeah.
of
Mm-hmm.
giving in instead of
Mm-hmm.
like communicating that, you know what, today is Father's Day and I have to be there for
Yeah.
my family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would you like to come?
Right.
And if
Right.
they say no, like it could be uncomfortable. We have to accept like
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's not important to them, or there's something
Right.
else important.
Yeah.
And that's one of the parts that like I continue to work on, like knowing that I'm going to walk into a relationship and communicate like these sides of me are important,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like that to be respected.
Yeah. Yeah.
A part of me that I
Oh
know
yeah.
is an issue.
Oh, drum rolls. I know she's been a little hesitant to share some of
No,
that.
because I don't know how to frame it. It's like I know what I want to say, but I know what I want to say. I would say definitely like my jealousy side. I
Mm-hmm.
have to be careful with bringing that up in my other relationships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, that would play out often, and I know that it wouldn't serve my partner. Because deep down, I just wanted to be cared for. Deep down, I just wanted affection,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just, I think, act out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so real. That's so real. I can relate to that as well. It's so
So
easy.
that's why, like, it's so cliche when someone says, like, you have to be two wholes coming into a relationship, but it really is that. Like, that's why like, ever since I was single, I tried to make an effort
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what ways I could, like, improve my behavior because I wanted to be whole.
Mhm.
Like think of it like a bubble in a relationship. You're like this bubble, and then like there's like these videos on Instagram, like they put two loosely papers together
Mhm.
and they glue them, right? And they
Mhm.
explain that as you're tearing it apart,
Mhm.
the parts of this loosely paper stays on this loosely paper, and the
Mm.
other parts of this loosely paper stays on this.
Mhm.
And that's what happens in a relationship. It's like all your parts get mushed when you break up. You have all these kind of like holes to fill.
Yeah.
And so you have to rebuild.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's what I found it important to do. And that was
Mm.
going to therapy. That
Mhm.
was a priority for myself.
Yeah.
I had to talk to somebody what I was going through, or else I was going to go nuts.
Mm. Yeah. No, that's so real. Because you get left with with the parts that you kind of struggled with in your relationship, right?
Mhm.
So things linger after the breakup. They
Mhm.
stay with you. And jealousy is definitely one of them. Jealousy coming into the relationship, and I'm sure that stems from, for me, it stems from, wanting to be cared for and validated,
Yeah.
and not feeling some of that growing up. So wanting that like 100 times more in my relationships,
Yeah.
but also, of course, everyone contributes to some part of it, right?
Mhm.
So while I can hold myself accountable, I know that, in a relationship it takes two, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
but
that
yeah,
part is not just going to surface just to surface. Like
right.
the partner, the person you're with is going to encourage that behavior too,
Mm.
unconsciously, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like through their comments or through their behaving, what they do on their phone or how they interact with
With
your
other
friends
people.
or their friends.
Mm-hmm. How they talk about women,
Mhm.
how they interact with their family members,
Yeah, who their friends are.
who their friends are as
Big
well.
indicator.
Oof. I was like this. I was blind. Oh shit. um yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's like what happens, right? Like you get like people say like love is blind. Here I go, all these quotes.
Love
Love
is
is
blind.
blind, but like technically it's kind of like
Isn't there a show like that?
I think there is, but it's kind of like this blindfold for so
Yeah.
long.
'Cause you just don't want to see it. I don't want to
And
see
then it just
that.
the breakup hits and it just falls off and you're like, "What is it?"
No,
No,
I was low
oh
key
my god.
peeking. I was low key peeking behind that blindfold, but I kept putting it back up.
I took that blindfold and fucking threw it and it burned in the corner. I didn't care. Actually, babe, something that my sister and I laugh about all the time is kind of like because of our breakup, like
Uh-huh.
our senses after were like so heightened. Like
Mm.
we we bond over to like how like after a breakup like your music feels different to you, the sounds
Oh my
outside feel
god.
different because you're just
You're
so
emotional.
so emotional, but also like when you're in a relationship, sometimes like that's just the center of everything. Like you're driving, that's all you're thinking about, or
Yeah.
you're like arguing through texts. Like
Yeah.
that's all your day. You don't get to step back and hear the birds chirp,
That's
or
true.
see the little bumblebee that we won't see in like 10 years. Go into the little flower and like get some food.
Yeah, it
We
does.
miss all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because we're so invested in that relationship that we can't be present with our surroundings.
Yeah.
And if we are being present, it has to be related to the relationship, right? The
Yes.
birds are chirping because today's a good day because I'm not crying.
Oh my god, babe, that's so real.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's so
Mhm.
real. One of the things like I was thinking about too, and I hate to say this word,
What, babe?
aside from being
Spit it
jealous,
out.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Aside from
What?
being jealous, because I was thinking about what you said, like the part of you that helped you. I mean, the part of you that you saw in yourself was like jealousy, and then you got therapy, and then that helped you. The part of it that I saw myself was like I was a little manipulative in my relationships.
Oh my god, babe, we both manipulated.
I know.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that part. Damn, I'm confessing my whole like self out here.
No, yeah. I was a little manipulative in my relationships.
Mhm.
I knew what to say to get someone upset. I knew I knew what kind of reactions I needed to have to at least to try to get what I needed from that person. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
because
like
like
control. Like you want control.
it goes deeper
It
than
goes,
that, and I'm
yeah.
ready to dive in. Like
Let's
it's
do it.
literally like your child come, like your child
Yes,
self
you've
comes
regressed.
out. Yeah,
You've
you regress. That's
regressed.
so real, babe.
Oh my God,
You
girl.
regress because your needs are not met, and you
Mm-hmm.
regress because there's a certain pattern that's being matched or emulated that your parents. Ooh, girl, this is
It's
deep. I don't know if
repeated.
people are
It's
gonna get
repeated.
this. Are you following me?
Yeah, I'm following you. I'm following you,
Okay,
girl. Yeah, because
that's
it's a reflection of your initial relationships with your
yeah.
family, right? So you're being manipulative because clearly you're not getting what you need.
Mhm.
And so you're going to do whatever you can to get control over that relationship
Mhm.
because you didn't have control in your previous
And
relationships.
for me, it's like manipulation was like I knew the thing that was gonna like over fix it for short term
Mm. Mm.
because my I had a partner that would abandon me because that's the style of his parents, like
Mm.
the neglect and the
Like he
abandonment.
was shut down?
He was shut
Oh,
down,
okay.
right?
Got it.
And so like I started picking up all of those cues, right?
I'm playing right now with my little fidget.
Like I would feel insane sometimes.
Oh my God. Girl, I feel you a
I
hundred
would cry by the
percent.
closet and be like, "What is wrong with me?"
Like, why isn't he giving me the attention that I need?
Oh my god.
Girl,
Never again.
same.
I mean, people say don't say never, but
I know. Knock on wood.
my thing is like I've been working so hard on that, like
Yeah.
finding how to fill in that void.
Mm.
It's like we're reparenting ourselves.
Hmm. We're filling each other up with some love and comfort and at least the gaps that we're missing in our in our initial relationships with like our parents, like our the
Thank you for naming
foundation.
that, babe. I'm still like in awe because I forgot about that part.
The manipulative piece? Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that
Manipulation
part.
is real, yo. I felt crazy. I
Yeah.
felt so crazy. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I regressing into a child?
Yeah, it's so scary for me because I did that for so long. Down the just a little ounce of it, like I start doing that, I leave that that person or that temporary date. Like I'm so scared of
Yeah.
regressing.
Right. And therapy did help. Um, I don't think I would have been able to identify those parts of me had it not been for therapy and
Mhm.
being able to process that in a safe space. Um, I personally didn't feel comfortable bringing up my relationship at the beginning, at the first couple of months when things ended. It was so hard for me to share with my family how how much I struggled in my relationship. I want to be very intentional about the people that I'm choosing to lean on because there's
But
people that are going to
speaking,
give
babe,
you
that's
advice.
let's rewind a little bit. Like
Okay,
the
go.
reason why I feel like I can definitely relate to that because what happens if you start opening up these doors of like what's happening behind the scenes with your partner, people are going to have a lot to say
Yep.
and they're going to skew. Either they're going to skew to
Yeah.
the reality and put the reality in your face and you're not ready to hear it,
Yep.
or they're going to darken that and make it even
Worse.
about yourself. They're going to be like, "But you did it, you brought this, you
Some
said that."
blame, some
Blame on
shame.
yourself. Yeah, self blame, right? Then you're gonna experience
Mm-hmm.
after. Or what's gonna happen is that they're gonna go gossip.
Oh gosh.
They're gonna go gossip, and like for me, for as a parent, that's really hard because it's gonna come back to my kids.
Mm. Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's always going to be a risk.
It
It's
is
always going to be a risk.
like that's one of the reasons why I looked for therapy because
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find someone that authentically I could trust 100%. Like, of course, like I feel like I can trust my sisters. I have friends I can trust, but like there were parts that I would hide, right? Because I was afraid of the reality being smacked into my face.
Yeah. since we're talking about therapy, and we're talking about the things that we learned about us that we want to continue to improve in and learn from, I
Mm-hmm.
think one thing is like over accommodating people. Um,
Mm.
I feel like growing up, and this is an area that I'm still working on, is being a people pleaser. I think I would always go above, or I try to go above and beyond with being present, or again, putting their needs before mine, before even like trying to do anything related to my career, my health. I just wanted to be present at all times, because if I wasn't present, then that meant that I wasn't being a good partner.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I started to notice is, how is this being reciprocated to me? How are my own needs, how are my own activities, how are my own interests being taken care of as well and recognized? Is this person also accommodating me in their schedule to make sure that my interests are also being seen? Um, and I think I realized that when I went to therapy. Guys, therapy is like
Mm.
my go-to. I own not only I've not only been doing individual therapy, but I did couples therapy as well.
Mm.
So couples therapy allowed me to learn that a partner has to be as invested in the work, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me that was definitely um, that was definitely a priority to me, to help the relationship work. And unfortunately it didn't work out in therapy, and I remember I was sitting with my therapist on the couch by myself, and I was like, ah. And he just looked at me, and I was just very emotional, and he said, Melissa, it takes two people for it to work out. And I was like, I'm by myself.
I'm stuck at the couples therapy because I have
mm,
started having flashbacks too when I
mm,
realized that it is two, like, two people are in a relationship. It's not yourself. And
mm-hmm,
I went to couples therapy in two different occasions, and like the first time it was me initiating. Like, I was making the appointment, I was communicating to the therapist. We were both showing up. I was the one talking the most in therapy, and the therapist, like in the third session, like highlighted that, like, you gotta let your partner speak. And what was happening was that, like, that was kind of like reflecting what was happening in a partnership. Like, a lot of the times it was like me yapping away all my feelings because a lot of my feelings were invalidating, and then I never gave space for the person to share his feelings. And then the second time around that we went to, well, we were planning to go to couples therapy, I put it on the table, and it was kind of like an ultimatum, like, either
Yes, that's what I meant. An ultimatum. Uh-huh.
either we go to couples therapy or this is it.
Mm.
And I made a worse ultimate. I don't even know if that's worse, because that kind of showed me
Mhm.
if it was gonna be a good investment.
Mm.
I told my partner at the time, like, you make the appointment this time around. Like, you schedule the appointment. You just let me know what time to show up.
Mm.
And 2 weeks went by, 4 weeks went by, and
A
then
year went by. And you still waiting.
and I was like, you know what? This is a strong indicator that this person is not ready, and
Mm.
I'm just gonna continue my individual therapy.
That's so interesting. It's so interesting how you put the ball in their court at that point,
I was fed
right?
up.
Yeah, yeah. But for me, it was different. Like I had to have control because I knew it wasn't gonna get done. So I
That was
pushed
me the
and
first
pushed
time.
and pushed, but I didn't stop. I even showed up to the last session by myself,
Oh my
girl.
god, babe.
I know. You see, overextending yourself,
Mm.
overextending yourself, over initiating things, like just doing
Yeah.
so much. Like if you're doing so much in your relationship to save it,
Yeah.
that is so exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Oh my God.
I don't even know word. I don't even know if exhausting is the word.
I
But I
just,
don't want to do that again.
no, same here, girl. Nah. I feel like I have a lot to learn for myself, guys. So I learned a lot from Gardenia's dating experience. I'm
Oh.
still swimming in the ocean looking for a fish
A
today.
fish. No, let the fish come to you,
You're
babe.
right, you're
Let
right, you're
that
right, you're
shark.
right. Like that,
El
like that
tiburón.
strong shark.
Let the tiburón come to you.
So funny. I'm curious on how I'm gonna navigate relationships now moving forward. I've been giving myself a pretty long break. And doing a lot of the investment in myself and looking for activities where I can be able to meet other people in a very authentic way. I can't do apps, guys. Like that gives me anxiety.
I would stay away from those ads. Like, it's a waste of your time,
Good.
to be honest. I'm sorry, but
Shout out to everybody that uses the apps and has landed a good person. I'm gonna need you guys to give me some
can
tips.
can people comment? I would like to know if you entered a successful, healthy relationship off of Tinder
Not
and
Tinder, no girl.
okay,
Tinder's like
off of Bumble,
Hinge.
Hinge, because
Tinder's
I
like
don't know anybody. Please, I would like to hear and like maybe one of the one of these days we could go live and people can
just give
share.
us a free consult.
Yes, because I want to know. That's like a case example.
Nah, but that us. That's gonna be a case discussion. Oh, guys. Well, this was fun. I hope that you felt, I don't know, you felt like there was something that you were able to get out of this episode.
And thank you for all the love and the reposting. We
Yes.
really appreciate
Yes,
it.
we do, guys. We
Every
do.
one of you guys, we're paying attention to those who follow us, those who comment, those who give
Mm-hmm.
us feedback. Like we're really open to like hearing from you.
Yes.
We're really open to feedback. Like
Yes.
let me know if like my hair looks terrible or like the lighting is off or I get caught off the camera or something. Because
Don't let me know that my hair looks terrible, please.
I'm okay with that. I'll
I'm
just
just
laugh it
kidding.
out. Sometimes I just after like a long day at work, I just need like some comments to make me laugh.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But also, let us know when we look cute. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Oh my god, you see? I keep and receive
You said,
compliments. Oh my god.
she felt so. She prefers that you guys let her know all the
Oh
like
my god.
critical feedback versus like positive feedback. Girl,
Damn.
we take both.
Yes.
Anyway, bye guys.
Bye.